The disciples once came to Jesus and asked him who the greatest in the kingdom of heaven is. And Jesus, as we know the story well, Jesus brings one of these little children from the crowd, and he puts the child in their midst and says, if you want to become great, you have to become like one of these little children. It's surprising how disrespectful Jesus was of the hierarchy of power in our world. They were, I'm sure, not satisfied with that answer. Truly, they're looking for greatness. Like, what do you have to do? What boxes do you have to check in order to arrive? And Jesus had this downward mobility theology and paradigm where he's saying that you have to become like a child. I think about that, especially now at this time of year. I think about the birth of Jesus. And I think about the juxtaposition of this child that was in the manger with the Prince of Peace, or the King of Peace that the Roman Empire knew, who was the emperor. And there's this juxtaposition where the promise of this new child is a promise of someone who is bringing peace to the world, a true Prince of Peace. And it strikes me how disrespectful that message is to a world that reveres greatness in the form of power. And the message, this beautiful message that peace doesn't come through power. Peace is going to come through vulnerability, like the vulnerability of a child in a manger. How often we look to the greatest among us in terms of how the world sees its own powerful hierarchy. We look to the greatest, those who are elected officials and those with power to start wars and end wars, those who can vote on decisions that change the livelihoods of people and affect justice. We look to these great powers for peace. And yet I just have this whisper this year, this beautiful message that peace doesn't come through power. It comes through vulnerability. That peace doesn't come through a king. It comes through innocence and childlikeness. And so I want to offer that to us to contemplate. I want to ask us to think about where we think peace starts, and the role of vulnerability in the making of peace. That it's not in asserting our rights and pointing fingers and saying, who's done what wrong, but instead it starts with vulnerability. It starts with people who are willing to say and admit, I feel scared. I feel alone. And I'd like for you to step into that space with me. So I'd like to leave us with this today as we look forward to Christmas in a couple of days. I'm assuming you're watching this on a Friday, even though, of course, I record it beforehand. But I want to just leave us with this beautiful message of the manger, the message that peace comes not through power, the way the world understands it, but it comes through vulnerability, which, if we are listening to the gospel, we'll discover and learn that that is where the power of the kingdom of God truly lives. God bless you, St. John's, and Merry Christmas in advance, and I will see you on Sunday.